Sky Squad, we are back in this Ponderosa, back in this jamboree, and of course, the drama is continuing in the fallout from the Married to Medicine Season 10 reunion. If you guys are tapped in, tuned in to reality TV related content, be sure to subscribe to this channel and also hit that like button when you come into the room because it does help with the engagement of this video and others like it. So let's go ahead and take things into where we need to go today. All right. Because Quad is calling out Bravo's production for allowing Dr. Simone to speak about her deceased niece. She says it's just insensitive. Now, shout out to our friends over at the Neighborhood Talk. Actually, while I'm doing this video, it does appear that there is some type of Instagram and Facebook outage. So I'm not necessarily sure who will get to see this as it comes out. Hopefully, YouTube is not falling under that purview as well. So we will just have to wait and see. All right. So first things first, Quad tweeted out, "It's just insensitive. I would never use anyone's family hurt and pain as a source of entertainment. My family and I struggle on the daily. I am heartbroken and disgusted. I can't believe production let this fly." Now, granted, during the episode, Andy did ask, I think he asked Simone for specifics, Dr. Simone, I should say, for specifics about, being there for Quad and Quad not being there for the girls, right? And, a lot of people felt like this was something that, Dr. Simone shouldn't have really went into detail with describing because number one, it involved a child. Number one, it was a child involved in a tragedy. And number two was involved a child in a tragedy. And then number three, it was a child, a tragedy involved during a time when they were not filming. Okay. So there are a couple of different things for that. I feel like that add to the level of severity that I feel like it shouldn't have been talked about in that way. This was not a filmed situation. I don't know if it was during the filming process or not, but it was not filmed for Quad. At least that much, we have heard, right? So I just think that for me, bringing it up on television, while some people felt like, well, who cares? I mean, Quad did, said stuff about Mariah. I guess what I'm trying to say is that, neither incident is really is really cool, but at all is neither incident is cool. But what I'm saying to you guys is that this is a family tragedy that they will now have to relive again watching this show. And for Simone to speak about it, I think as insensitively as she did, I feel like that to me is where we need to. I mean, I can't believe she didn't draw a line, right? Especially for someone who has, if the argument is that she just hasn't been there for me, to go there at that point was just unnecessary to me. Especially considering when people were really bringing this point up, especially yesterday when I was doing my recap, I saw some people commenting about this, and Quad had also apparently commented, and she basically addressed Dr. Simone and said, Dr. Simone was asked to name a time when I was there for her. I recall traveling to Nashville, knocking door to door when her father was missing. I was there to support her. I had high hopes in helping her find him, but we were unsuccessful. I guess she forgot. And this is a thanks again, courtesy to our friends over at the Bravo Shaderoom. And I'm just like, I mean, the people was definitely mentioning this yesterday. I mean, it's a thing, it was being stated. And I just kind of feel like, maybe Quad couldn't think of this at the time because it did seem like a lot was going on. But I guarantee you this is something that the people online happen to have to remind her about. You understand what I'm saying? So maybe Dr. Simone was simply speaking of a time that wasn't aired, okay? That wasn't on the telly. Because a big thing for Dr. Simone was, it's things that you do on camera. But what about off camera? So maybe if that's her argumentation, I really don't know. Let me know what you guys think in the chatterization down below. But I guess if you have to just sit there and name one time, I mean, if we're going to just do that, then this could definitely be one of those times. Okay. All right. So let's move on because there is more that we got to talk about. All right. So you guys know I did not see this last night because it was just so much going on for me as I'm preparing to go on vacation. But apparently, Dr. Heavenly, true to form, as she stated, she was still going to go live. Now, I'm assuming this was over on Patreon because I haven't checked the YouTube yet. But at least according to our friends, again, at the Bravo Shade Room, they happened to capture this clip. You know, Dr. Heavenly was on the line with T.S. Madison, with Craig, and with Carlos King. And what we got to see was basically that Dr. Heavenly says that everybody has received their contracts for season 11. Everybody is coming back. Now, remember yesterday in yesterday's video, we talked about how Quad had indicated via a tweet that she basically helped Phaedra secure 3 seasons, okay, of Married to Medicine at the very least. So given that everybody has their contracts to come back, Quad as well, Dr. Heavenly confirms, it's looking like things are going to be very, very interesting as the group reconvenes. Now, I have no clue whether or not that means also Dr. Alicia will be back. I really don't know. What I will say is that, you know, Quad has not been shy about tweeting out her feelings about the things that have gone on in light of the reunion. And so I will be interested to see how the ladies respond to her clapping back at them online on Twitter, because, you know, for me, will it be that they tell her, oh, like they're telling Candace, you're weaponizing social media against us? Is that going to be the thing? Because ultimately what it does feel like is that Quad hasn't really had much of the voice to really speak, and so Twitter could definitely be her, you know, her method for doing so. But let me know what you guys think in the chatterization down below. All right, speaking of the Married to Medicine girls, and because Apollo will be on the Married to Medicine reunion, I saw this yesterday and I actually was not really going to talk about it because we had so much to go through with Married to Medicine. But apparently, our friends over at It's On Site. Now, this is where I first saw it, but the article itself that I'm going to point you guys to, because Instagram is down at the moment, is on the Jasmine brand. Now, with this, the allegation is that Apollo has allegedly been exposed as a cheater, pumpkin eater, um, by an alleged mistress. Okay. Now, why this alleged mistress has released, or someone connected to her perhaps has released, you know, door cam footage or ring camera footage, I really don't know, inside the house camera footage, which appears to be right here. Um, it has been yet to be seen why this footage is making its way around. But my thought is that if you knew who he was, then you knew that he is with Shireen, whatever you want to call her. I don't really know this young lady right here. The young lady, for those of you guys who are new here, okay. The mistress is the person in the photo, in the photograph that looks grainy, who we cannot see, and then his current woman, Shireen, is right there, pictured in the bike, right there with the blonde hair, right? So then you go over to some text messages that are allegedly between Apollo and this young lady. And he is seen here telling this young lady on Saturday, December 30th, that I love you too, baby. She allegedly says, I have an idea that I want to pitch to you for your future success. And then he allegedly says on the 31st, okay, cool. When we see each other, we can talk. Happy New Year. I love and miss you. You are awesome. She says, I love and miss you as well. Happy New Year, my love. Things are going to be great. 2024. He allegedly responds, yes, they are. We're going to have a baby. LOL. I can see the reaction on your face right now. I'm just busted out laughing. And then there are other messages that are apparently that state, why would you keep it there? I'd rather you tell the truth and just say you lied. And so I guess maybe here's where things start to take a turn. He says, allegedly, I didn't lie to you about a gift. Shaking my head, it is Tom Ford perfume rose prick. And she says, thank you. Let me know when you're coming. And then he says, can I head that way now? She says, yes. He says, allegedly says driving. She says, okay, 3 minutes away. Okay, the door is open. And then the next message we see is safe. And another one states, tomorrow for sure, I'm super tired, but if you want to come, you can. He says, allegedly, okay, rest. She says, allegedly, please be safe. He says, I will. Then the next thing we see is 2. And then he says, all is well. I'm headed to talk to Phaedra in regards to my children on Tuesday the 9th. Today has been hectic, but very productive at the same time. She says, is everything okay? I'm glad it was productive. I have my car service tomorrow. Are you able to pick me up? They said it'll take 4. And he says, where you at? Again, these are all from the site. It's _on-site. Be sure to check them out once Instagram and the Twitter and all the things are back online. I don't really have much to say about this. I will put up the alleged badge up here. For me, I really could care less about whether or not, what Apollo has going on. I mean, or what he does not have going on. It really, I try to honestly, the fact of the matter is, I really wouldn't even be talking about this, but he just so happens to be on the show Married to Medicine on this upcoming reunion. So that is for me while we're talking about it. But otherwise, I really wouldn't. So let me also say this. It's interesting to me because I wonder what happened for this information to be released, because clearly things were fine until something happened. And I just kind of want to know, like, well, didn't you know that he was already married? I don't know what the arrangement is for him and Shireen, or whatever the case may be. But my thought is, if you already knew he was married and you knew what you was getting into, why release this information now when you signed up for it? That's a part of the question that I have. And then for him, it's also like, you gotta, I mean, you gotta, bro, like, what are you doing? What are you doing? I mean, at the end of the day, what are you doing? You're sitting up there on this lady's Ring camera. What you think? Okay. And then my thing is, for these men who are in relationships, with other women, like, why do you make them feel like you're going to be their all in all? You know what I'm saying? I never really understand that. That just don't make no sense to me. So, and so you have to wonder, what was he telling this woman? What was he making her believe? Was he making her believe that this, because they clearly saying I love you to each other. So was he making her think that he was going to leave his wife or whatever like that? We have to also wonder what he was saying to her that led to all of this to happen, right? So anyway, it's a little bit of a mess, but to be honest with you, I don't really care. What I do know is that it sounds like Phaedra will be back on Married to Medicine and not Real Housewives of Atlanta. So there's that. With that being said, y'all, I will catch you in the next video.